Solid visit from Lukeman.
97. Martin, you require
Gary's on a finish, but you'd
113.
expect Martin to get at least 6 darts at this. Treble 19 would leave double 18.
95.
Goes inside for
Gary,
the
you
second
require
time in this match.
144.
Just constantly reaching, trying to find that treble 20, and it's
Martin,
not
you
working out.
require 18.
Straight at the double 9. And misses inside, and he's left with a dart in his hand and nothing
10.
to do but just square it off.
Gary, you require 50.
Deja vu, perhaps. Oh, he misses double 16 by some way, and
42.
double 8 not particularly close either.
Martin, you require 8. Games on the fourth
Well,
leg.
4 legs played.
Martin
We're
Lukeman.
level at 2 apiece.
Fifth leg, Gary the third
Neither man
first.
playing anywhere
Game on.
near as well as they have done so far this weekend.
But it was at this stage last year where Gary had to come through a last leg decider against Josh Rock, and it was a sub 90 average. This is shaping up to be something
99.
similar.
140.
But Gary's got gears like few others have ever possessed.
60.
Not even
Gary,
down
you
to a
require
finish.
90.
Gary Anderson's got all the time in the world here. Well, he changed his mind there. You could see him looking up the board, then down the board, and ultimately
50.
he's missed that 16 segment by a mile. And it's a good job he's got time.
$140. Gary, you require 40. Games on the sixth leg.
Best leg of the match, 13
Gary
darter from
Anderson.
Gary Anderson. That's more like it, even though we did see that pretty wild attempt at the
Seventh
16
leg,
segment.
Gary the third first. Game on. $80. Martin, you require 121.
That should have ended much better, as it started promisingly. Treble 17.
57. Gary, you require 98.
A 5-2.
58.
So Martin Lukeman to break
Martin,
straight
you
back, get
require
this game back
64.
on throw. Great dart, double 8. That's his
Games
best
on
leg
the
of the
seventh
match,
leg.
14 darter.
Martin Lukeman.
Now, it was quite the
Eighth
act of
leg, and Martin
escapology
at third
from
first.
Smash this afternoon.
Game on.
5-1 down.
The door is ajar for Lukeman.
$58.
Bumps
Gary,
into
you
it.
require 141. $97. Martin, you require 144.
Could he? What an opportunity this leg has been. There have been chances for Lukeman in this game to get the break he needs.
42. Gary, you require 44.
Unbelievable, he says. And double 10 is
24.
missed. Now, Martin Lukeman, 2 good darts.
Martin, you require 102.
The face of a man who knows this is a big opportunity. Double 14. That was the percentage shot rather than going for the bullseye to leave double 16.
94. Gary, you require 20.
He hates double 10, he always says it. But he's managed to find it there. It is the worst
Gary
leg of the
Anderson.
match. It's a
10th leg,
24
Martin
darter.
first.
This is such hard work for Gary Anderson, but he's just about holding on to this lead.
58.
Comes up dry.
$84. Martin, you
It's a more
require
favourable finish for
150.
Gary. And he's going to come back for 126.
96. Gary, you require 126.
Could finish this one off on the bullseye.
$98.
Not
Martin,
to
you
be. Now
require
then, 54 for Martin Lukeman. For another 17 darter. We are going all the way. Martin Lukeman looking to stage another comeback of sorts. It's a right smile on the face of both players. They're probably telepathically thinking to each other, this has been a load of.
Somebody is stumbling through to the semi-finals here. And those two darts make it much more likely it'll be the Flying Scotsman.
138. $97. Gary, you require 80.
Well, this has not been pretty. Doesn't matter though, Gary Anderson with a flail of the arm, almost apologetic towards Martin Lukeman. He has beaten him 6-5, and just like in the quarter-final last year against Josh Rock, he was so below par.
Look at that. Identical. How often does that happen? Maybe after the first 3 or 6 darts of the match.
47. James, you require 158.
This would be something else to break the throat.
$96. Dirk, you require 60.
Loads of room to the right. Fails to use it. Double 10.
40.
Now an opportunity for James.
James, you require 62.
Opportunities. He's made a very good living out of taking. Double 10. This is what James Wade does better than pretty much anyone.
For the rest of the night that he's never had. But the record average for a quarter-final in this tournament
47.
is 111.16 by Danny Noppert 3 years ago. He didn't go on to win the tournament. And it wasn't here, it was in Stuttgart, remember.
57. $45.
Well, this is a severe drop-off
170.
in leg 5 from Wade. 120 points scored from 9. And Dirk has a choice. He takes it!
On the 5th leg.
That's how you change a match.
Dirk van Duijvenbode.
He leads Wade on 3-8-1. Benito lost 6-5, averaging 96.04. Wade, 90.79. A classic machine match.
140.
He beat Van Gerwen after that. He beat Chisnell in the final 6-5. And he has not won since.
180.
First 180 of the match for Wade, but if Dirk van Duijvenbode continues in this fashion, James Wade's wait for a win will continue. Single 16, double top. Dirk van Duijvenbode leads this match by 4 legs to 3, 12 darter, 14 darter, and a 12 darter. The last 2 holes of throw, the only way Wade could possibly have won would have been a 9 darter. And there is a chance here for Dirk with another big score to go and break the throw again. Another big score, you say?
180. 60.
Really needed that ton.
Dirk, you require 102.
Dirk staring down a third 12 darter in 4 legs.
Double 16, leaves double 18. He's going around the houses. He still pins it.
Dirk van Duijvenbode.
Well, this is nearly beyond belief. James Wade can't believe it. And I don't think many in the venue can either, because Dirk van Duijvenbode maybe wasn't quite on the ropes, but he was being put under pressure.
And he was out of the match. But somehow he's still kicking. And it's looking more like a last leg decider now.
134. James, you require 121.
Just wants to lay up.
41.
Look on the bright side. An 80 checkout still requires tops or tens. It's not what he wanted.
57.
He wanted to try and leave 56
80.
or something smaller. But this will do. Dirk's already getting ready for the next leg. Wise plan, because that's where we're going.
James Wade, 11th and deciding leg. Dirk to
Word of advice to you, Dirk. Do
on.
not give James Wade a pop at a double.
He's on something like 204, 2-1-2, and he finishes the game with his first match start. 60, 12 and tops.
James, you require
It's stuff of myth. If he does it again, his reputation is intact.
Treble 20. Double 16.
96.
That 60 went in so fortuitously. It was an incredible deflection.
Dirk, you require
He got his
32.
match start, but not at his favoured target. Now Dirk gets one at his favoured target.
Can he go in off? Oh dear.
Bend it like Van Duijvenbode. This is being thrown from over 8 feet.
No score. James, you
Well, what do you do?
require
Double 8?
16.
Or pick another double if you want.
Staring down, double 4.
12.
Unbelievable. 4 match darts have been missed by James Wade, of all people.
But not at 10s, not at tops, not at 12s.
Dirk, you require 32.
If he has a weakness, sometimes it's 16s, 8s and 4s.
Those particular doubles are a strength of Dirk's. But this is a last leg decider, remember. It's more difficult. But Dirk passes the examination. What a strange game that was. A streaky game against James Wade. It didn't start too well for him. He went 3-1 down.
I'm just trying to figure out where the weaknesses are in this game, potentially.
$105.
Gilding threatening a 4-visit leg here. Wright's going to leave himself handy.
140. Enrico, 116.
Very handy. But Andrew did something in the previous visit to take the bull out of the shot. It might make the difference. Superb. That's why you trim off when you're on 1-4-1 with 1 dart.
James Wade, we've seen him tonight. Luke Humphries saw him this afternoon. They can stubbornly stay on the 20 segment, and you think
100.
it's making life harder for themselves. But Peter Wright's so accurate, so precise can he be. He's picking exact little portions of the bed to pick out.
140.
You would classify these as dart players that aim. It's not necessarily about flow, it's about finding a set position that they're comfortable with and then draw back and through with a nice rhythm.
105.
Less
Andrew
fashionable
Carr,
ways to
121.
throw these days.
Peter Wright, similar setup shots with Andrew Gilding on the previous leg, but Gilding having to look at the 1-2-1 on this occasion, and he gets the treble for the bullseye. And that is 3-0 Andrew Gilding. It is back-to-back 12 darters.
If you're Peter Wright, at which point do you say to yourself, hang on a minute, I might be in bother, but maybe not in this leg. But looking at the intricacy of it, he might have to hit a 9 to stop himself from going 5-0 down.
Peter Wright is one of the greatest darts players this sport has ever seen, but he does not hit many 9 darters. In his entire career, he's only had 3. But could he hit one here at the Glass Palast? Oh, he can't get the 45 to leave double 18. And he might well lose the leg.
There's more people going for the 45 these days.
Andrew Carr, 81.
That may be the new trend. But we said, if he doesn't hit the 9, he could lose the leg. He's 50% on the bull.
56.
Make that 33% on the ball in this
21.
match.
Fabulous leg. He's very nearly at the 18 to leave 3 there. Right on the wire. So good at this normally. But he cannot do it, and he cannot hit a double. And Peter Wright,
25.
he's in real danger here of getting a hiding. Gilding 5, Wright 0. But it probably means that Andrew Gilding is going to have to miss some match darts at some point, and probably some in this leg the way it's going. As that's his second 180. The thumb is brandished, and Goldfinger is a visit away from the semis.
And Peter Wright is a visit away from stopping him.
Andrew Carr, 121.
Double 17 again. And this time doesn't really threaten it.
Not a good dart, that.
25.
2 bad ones.
Peter Carr, 121.
And we know that Snakebite can find a 1-2-1 to save his snake skin. But can he this time? Now, those 2 small numbers
85.
that Gilding hit,
Andrew Carr, 96.
well, they stipulate that he can't win this game 6-1.
Where's he looking? Great dart, double 8. Andrew Gilding is a semi-finalist at the Glass Palast. The 4-time finalist, the 2017 champion, Peter Wright, is beaten.
Michael 156.
Can you start with a bang? Maybe.
100. Luke 110.
Can Luke Woodhouse start with what would be a slightly milder bang? Still a bang though, double 18.
Game for the first
Lovely stuff from Luke Woodhouse. Making a habit of Ton Plus checkouts this weekend. That's his 4th of the tournament. Disappointment because the first start looks so inviting for him to just bring it underneath into the treble. Luke Woodhouse seeks out treble 18.
55. Markley require 54.
14 for tops.
34. Luke
Now then,
requires
chance.
68.
It might be Woody time. And double 16 found first time of Askin. It is the first breaker throw.
And then the other member of the semi-finals is someone who won this title last year but seldom plays European Tour events.
The greatest tour in professional sports, my friend.
96. Luke Duijvenbode 102.
Another 10+ finish of the weekend for Luke Woodhouse. Oh, he threatened it. Would have been a fifth of the weekend for the shed.
74.
We took this out twice at the back end of his game with Daniel Closer, under pressure. And he's done it again.
Shot 7th leg, Michael Smith. Take leg, Michael to throw first.
Go back to doing what he was doing, because that formula worked. This is what he was doing. Look, the measured deliberateness of it. There's still a rhythm to it. That's a 6th 180.
I hope you've learned your lesson, Luke. Well, the bounce out's unlucky, but he really should have been looking at the bullseye after those first 2 darts.
Well, yeah, but he's got the markers, and you saw where it landed. That's why he did it. And look at that, Luke Woodhouse. It was in, it was out, and now he's outside of finishing range, and back-to-back 180s from Luke Woodhouse. Utterly brilliant from him.
28. Luke, you require 40.
He was on 400 after 6 darts. He's on 40 after 12. He's on 10 after 15.
Requires 64.
Has Luke Woodhouse blown it?
Double top. Oh, Michael Smith leads this game.
Michael Smith.
It's another bully boy remontada at the last ballast.
10th leg, Michael to throw first.
It'll be 54 first dart. He can't get it started.
56. Luke require 144.
That doesn't really take a big chunk out of it. However, I'd rather be in Smithy's position than Woodhouse's.
$94. Michael requires 78.
For a place in the semis. To move to the brink of the qualifying spots for the match play. Michael Smith has missed a match dart.
Luke requires 50.
Luke Woodhouse should get 2 to level. Takes care of the big 18. Takes care of double 16. It's a critical break of throw. And once again, we are going the distance. We have gone to the 11th and final leg in 3 of the 4 quarter-finals. It has been a dramatic evening at the Glass Palast.
Hasn't won the game by then.
58.
Oh, what a visit from Luke Woodhouse.
77.
What is it about his games with Michael Smith on the stage that seems to bring the absolute best out of him?
140.
He beat him at the Worlds, he beat him at the UK Open. He might be about to beat him on the Euro Tour and reach a semi-final for the first time. What a display from Luke Woodhouse. Michael Smith is beaten, and we have our semi-final lineup.
Look, Gary Anderson doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He's one of the greatest of all time in this sport. He's kind of playing with a carefree attitude, which is dangerous.
Having said that, if he does win the tournament, it'll get him to £38,500 in ranking money for the European Championship. That will be safe. Making the final isn't enough. Another. Just Just a little bit of a wiggle
98.
when it hit the previous dart.
112.
So Dirk has a chance of a number on his finishing bingo card that he hasn't found this week yet. He's got it now.
On the first leg. The second leg
That
is
is ton plus finish in the tournament, number 6. Gary hasn't got any.
57.
But he's still in the semi-final, so you can say that he hasn't needed any.
$140.
This looks a lot better than the quarter-final. He just had to get through that, didn't he, against Lukeman? It was an attritional, workman-like game. But when you get through a game like that, it renews the energy a little bit. You get rid of some relief.
180.
But you're going to need more energy against Dirk if he's doing things like that. He's now got 3 180s.
20 in the event. That 180, with Gary Anderson not taking out 141, affords him a chance at 124. Well, he's hit 6 ton plus checkouts already. Won't make it 7 here.
73, Gary Carr 8.
Double 4, and we are level after 4.
Fifth leg, it's Dirk.
May the fours be with you.
First stage meeting between these two was very significant. It was at the Grand Prix in 2020, the tournament that really launched Dirk into the wider darting consciousness, where he got to that final in COVID times, of course, losing to Gerwyn Price. Since then, he's always been there or thereabouts around the majors.
It's going to sting a bit. He's expecting to get a shot at the ball.
89.
As you would an 85. This is a new side to Dirk. This recomposure. If he's not comfortable, he steps off.
Lovely dart, double top. Double 10.
65.
And maybe the pattern of holds of throw 22 will be broken.
Very well measured.
Gary Anderson.
Earlier today, Gary was not having a great time of it on the doubles, so he changed the plan to double 16. Obviously, Dirk doesn't want to have to step off if he can't see the sheet.
135.
Well, we call it the sheet because it used to be paper, now it's a whiteboard.
Yeah, these two have tested our France today, haven't they? Dirk with his little words saying essentially, get out of my way. And Gary earlier on with his 9 scored last dart doesn't count.
Well, ever since that moment, Dirk's gone a little bit bananas. They're testing his vocal cords now, but it could be 5-2. Double 8 again.
38.
That could change the game. It could have been a double break for the Flying Scotsman. That first shot at 32 was poor. The second dart was closer, but it was always going to be more difficult because of the first one. And Gary swallows up leg 7. Wright gone, Smith gone.
140.
If things had have gone differently, we could have had a very old school Premier League semi-final lineup. Wright v. Anderson v. Wade, Wright v. Smith.
No one from the Premier League was in the quarterfinals. Oh, how things can change. The first few events were all won by Premier League players, and then Martin Schindler wrecks that.
57. Gary Carr,
and the next
40.
thing you know, this is going to be won by a non-Premier League player as well. Is that name going to be Gary Anderson?
Gary Anderson. 9th leg, it's Dirk to top first.
This has been a brilliant performance. Sense he wants to get rid of this game before Dirk finds the kind of splash that he did in the previous game with Wade. 4 legs in a row he had, with a total of 50 darts. And if he was to do something like that right now, we'd get to 6-6. Maybe.
85, Dirk 29.
He needs a stint of massive finishing and scoring.
59, Gary Carlin.
Match point Anderson. That's interesting.
Dirk 70.
Well, this is now to save the match, to start the charge, if indeed there is one. And because that misses, the defence could continue.
It could be 2 in a row for Gary Anderson at the Glass Palace. Dirk van Duijvenbode, despondent in defeat. He nods his head. He realises that Gary Anderson was the deserved winner. Another top plus average around the 106 mark from the Flying Scotsman.
Look, I know it's great watching
91.
Littler versus Humphreys and Anderson versus Van Gerwen or whatever in big games. But this means so much to these two. Bullseye for Woodhouse.
94.
That would have settled him down.
Andrew, you require 66.
First time that Woody is playing best of 13 on a European Tour stage. If tops cooperates for Gilding, it may just be a very, very good night.
Andrew Gilding.
That is his primary weapon.
And it is something you learn how to deal with. He even said earlier on, but he made the mistake of going back and having a sleep before playing the evening session in previous times. He's not done that here. Played very, very well against Michael Smith. But one game isn't enough. And Andrew Gilding is taking care of business at the minute.
I can totally understand how Luke is feeling right now. I made my first final on the European Tour. I played immensely in the semi-final against Wayne Jones. In the final against Whitlock, I was 59.
Awful.
The difference in the average is about 22, 23 points. When you're in new territory, it makes you feel almost sick.
And that will not improve Luke Woodhouse's feeling. It is an 11-darter. Yeah, but it does kind of feel like Luke Woodhouse is terminating his own chances in this game.
60.
It's not been about how great
Luke,
Gilding's been.
141.
It's been about Luke Woodhouse being unable to muster much. He's only his second good scoring leg of the match.
Yeah, and I'm getting vibes in this game right now from Andrew that
85.
he said to himself, I'll just hold my own throw and I'll get it done that way. Because on Woodhouse's throw the last couple of times, he's been in the distance.
$100. Luke, you require 56.
Double top.
Games
It's not in the middle, but it'll do.
Luke Woodhouse.
And gradually that average is starting to climb, but maybe not at the rate he wants. It could have been worse than this.
Gilding not particularly mathematically sound there. It probably doesn't matter.
That's what he's thinking. But in that previous position, 99% of dart players would have still gone to the 19s.
98.
Or a different route to try and leave a finish. With his last dart, he couldn't leave a finish. That was a snatchy dart. This time he gets it right. For a second there, I thought he was going to 19s. Again.
$96. Andrew, you require 160.
This will be some way to get within one of the final. Double top. Wow, what a shot. That might be a dream crusher to Woodhouse. For a second he's thinking, is there a way back into this? And right now, he might be thinking there might not be.
$100.
What about saving the game again?
Luke, you require 164.
619's needed. And a 50.
139.
Only gets half. Andrew would love to get 2 more darts for this match.
70.
He's already had 1. Does he get 1 or 2 more?
20 for tops. A second leg where Gilding gets 1 at tops and
Luke,
can't get the job done.
25.
A second leg where Luke Woodhouse, having missed the ball, is allowed to come back and tidy up the 25. But he can't repeat the feat, and surely that's the end.
Andrew's previous shot at tops was a classic overcorrection from the previous match effort.
Andrew, you require 40.
You've got to fancy him to win 7-3 though.
Andrew Gilding is a finalist at the Glass Palace. Goldfinger ends Luke Woodhouse's hopes of winning a maiden PDC title here tonight. And we have our final at the European Darts Grand Prix.
He doesn't change his routine or his preparation. He tends not to deviate from tops.
44. Gary require 152.
This is a big ask even for Gary. Hasn't scored very well in this leg at all.
$60. And you require 20.
I'm sure that sign said there's only 1 Gary Anderson. Double 5 for Andrew. He gives Gary a chance.
Gary require 92.
Well, you mentioned the word edgy, and they were edgy darts. Gary Anderson may get away with one here. He certainly does. It's a 20-dart holder throw. He was nowhere near for the majority of that leg.
He wants to leave tops, and he wants to take it to settle down.
97.
Still hasn't hit a double from 8 attempts. He might be feeling like Peter Wright did against him in the quarterfinals.
And you require 20.
He was in double digits, I think, before he got his first double.
It's happening again. It's happened again.
16.
And the worrying thing from Gilding's point of view is the fact that he's missing his favoured doubles. He loves tops, and by consequence, he'll go for 10s and 5s often. Gary Anderson's going for double 12 and hits it. That is the first real moment of quality in this final. It's a breaker throw, and Anderson already is halfway to retaining his title.
And we hope it doesn't.
But it was such a significant moment when Gary announced he was going to return to European Tour qualifiers.
81.
What it did tell us was the Anderson fire was still burning brightly.
Everybody needs motivation, whatever it is.
140.
Trophies, titles, money, rankings. You might have a chart on your wall where certain titles lie without a check mark. Could be a mix of the stuff that I've just mentioned.
You require 84.
5-0 sounds like a dream. It's a reality.
James on the 5th leg, Gary Anderson.
This tournament has yielded so many massive finishes. And that's the most important thing to him. He's beating his opponent.
Look, he wasn't great against Ross Smith in last year's final,
140.
averaging around the 90 mark. But he still had enough. Go on then, Gary. Clips the outside wire.
The symphony of ooze as the bull is missed. Now Gilding's looking for touche on the 141.
89.
And instead of touche,
48.
he may be looking at 6-0 down. Gary's hitting all the doubles.
7 leg, Gary to throw first.
And it's a double he's looking for.
Come on, Andrew. Well, I think everyone in the crowd, they might not be vocalising it, but everyone will want to see Gilding walk away with at least one leg.
Yes, that is what Gary is looking at. He knows a thing or two about fish. But this one's off the hook.
134.
So they're both on double 18. Is this the first for Gilding? th dart at a double. And it's unlucky for him. Anderson has got to be ruthless.
36.
That is ruthless. Gary Anderson is 7-0 up. Merciless.
That's worked out really, really well.
And you require 143.
It could yield his first championship dart.
Regardless of outcome, it was always going to have been a good tournament for Gilding, reaching just his second European Tour final. But Gary Anderson has tops for the match. The Glass Palace belongs to Gary Anderson, the first player to ever successfully retain the European Darts Grand Prix title. And in truth, it was a real cakewalk. Gilding can only shrug his shoulders. He doesn't quite know what happened. Not the greatest quality final, but Anderson walks away with the title.
Und unser Champion, dem wir gratulieren zu 30.000 Pfund Preisgeld. Seinem dritten Titel auf der European Tour. Er ist der alte und neue Elton Safety Shoes European Darts Grand Prix Champion, the Flying Scotsman,